There was a dinner at the Jefferson Hotel this week. Who was there and who paid for it?
Well, it was Republican senators were there, about a dozen or so, who were dining with the president. I mean, the president has not really done a whole lot of outreach to Republican senators, even Democrats on Capitol Hill throughout his first term. He senses that the chances, there are very few avenues in getting a budget deal through. And so now he's trying to do this through Republican senators, see who is willing to negotiate with him. But this was more of a social occasion. They were both getting to know one another. They were trying to build a relationship and a sense of cooperation before the real negotiations came in. The White House said afterwards that the president paid out of his pocket, but there's some dispute of that, but that's the White House's line.
So who were there? Who were the big players?
It's those members of the Senate Republican caucus who have signaled over the years that they want to work on a bigger deal with the White House. So it includes everybody from Senator John McCain and Senators Lindsey Graham to Tom Corker to Saxby Chambliss. There are a group of people, including some who have said, look, I'm willing to put revenue on the table again, even though the Republican Party is against it, who want to try and do something bigger.
Get a deal.
Yeah, get a deal. And I think that, it's sort of very refreshing for someone like me who spends my life covering a very frustrating city, a very broken city. The last week has been, at least by appearances, the way Washington should be. A glimmer of a city that actually functions, of people who disagree but actually talk to each other. I mean, this dinner was one of a number of events. Yesterday, the president had lunch with Paul Ryan. About a week ago, he had John McCain and Lindsey Graham over to the White House. He's been making a number of phone calls privately with members of the Senate. Next week, he's planning to go up to the Hill to meet with the Republican caucus in the House. He's also going to have lunch with Republicans in the Senate. So, I mean, this is the sort of actual conversation that we haven't had. And if you notice, at the same time this is happening, the amount of public posturing and noise-making that has become so typical of the day-to-day operations of this city has really declined. You haven't seen the president out on the campaign trail, like he was just a month ago, talking about how Republicans have to bend. He's talking privately, and maybe they come to some agreement, and maybe they don't. We don't know yet.
So has this required a personality transplant, or what's going on here?
What it required was the invitation to be made and for it to be accepted. If we should note that the president issued these kinds of invitations in his first year in office, and the Republicans said no. They didn't show up, and in fact, they would brag about the fact that they had turned down the president's offers.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, he made an effort early on. He made an effort last year a couple of times and was rebuffed. And so both sides had to do this. He had to make the offer. They had to say yes. Now we got both sides doing that. Other hopeful pieces of this, if you look at House Speaker John Boehner and Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, the two of them aren't standing in the way of it. And that's really important.
Were
in fact,
either of them at the dinner?
They were not. Both of them have said, Boehner has said he's done negotiating. McConnell said his last deal was going to be the end of it for him. However, both of them have encouraged the president to reach out to their members and to build support and bring it up. And so I think what it means is if there is a deal, Boehner and McConnell won't block it. And so that's another really good piece